Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. By the time you're seeing this video, it's probably going to be towards the weekend, maybe Friday or Saturday around there. I'm actually recording this midweek on a Tuesday afternoon. Figured I had some spare time to record a video, take advantage of it, and just share. We're going to kind of do the 3LP special this time. 2 local finds that I haven't caught up on talking about, and then one that actually got delivered in the mail this morning. This is one I ordered last week. I'm surprised it's already here, to be honest. Yeah, it's like a brand new release, 25. I guess you could consider it an archival release. It's the first time pressed on vinyl, but it got issued on CD many years ago. So we'll kind of talk about that one last, but we'll start off with the local finds. And as far as like the stuff from Kansas City, it may turn into a part 1 and 2 video. I'm not really sure yet. I'm actually still trying to absorb some of those records yet. As far as like even throwing them on the turntable, just kind of like to gradually absorb them and take my time with them, and just kind of reevaluate, see if it's going to last or not. You never know. So yeah, I think there's like 3 or 4 titles I haven't really gotten to yet, but that'll be coming up shortly, in the near future. Yeah, I'd say all these titles, though, they kind of fit in the pop realm. So we got like Baroque pop, power pop, and pop psych. Kind of on the light side of pop psych, you could say. But definitely of the time period, the counterculture, same time frame. This first one, though, this is one that I've had on the want list literally for like 5-6 years. Ever since I've been on Discogs, basically, or at least buying from there. And I don't know, I just always kind of held off. I felt like I could just find one in person. The day finally came, and got this for a good deal. Despite the ugly corner cut, it happens. Sounds of Modifications on the Jubilee label. Kind of one of those that you always see around, and it's like, is the cover kind of being gimmicky, or is it just truly vocal pop, sort of in like the Turtles vein? Who knows, right? So Sounds of Modification, I'm pretty sure they're from the East Coast, recorded in New York City. This has some connection to Robert Gallo, who had that record. I think he did the orchestration on here. This band actually backed him up on A New Place to Live, which is kind of I don't know if it's a private press, but it's a small label release from like the early 70s. And this band was like the backing band. But yeah, Robert Gallo, he had a few other connections, orchestrating and arranging different tracks. He's listed as Bob Gallo here on the back. And man, this one really grew on me, and much better than I initially thought at first, because it had been some time since I revisited this. But I do remember there was a couple pretty trippy standouts, like the track What Is This in the Mist? It's got that kind of Leslie vocal effect going on, with that Leslie organ sound used on the vocals. I really love when psych bands do that effect. But for the most part, it's even though they're from the US, they very much have like a Toy Town sort of light UK Baroque pop flavor. And man, there was a song on here that really got a lot of repeats. It was an earworm for a while. It's the track You. And I said to myself, even before I looked at the credits, I'm like, man, this sounds like a song that 60s Bee Gees would do, or sort of like Rolling Stones when they got their best out of the Baroque pop world. Come to find out, Barry Gibb wrote it. Blew my mind. Because it definitely has those like vocal harmony hooks that Barry would sing. And man, it's just flourishes in those strings, in those orchestrated moments. And it's got this kind of like, not garagey, but it's got that kind of beat rhythm and blues guitar in the back sometimes. Not just on that track, but throughout. There's a bit of like a kind of a mod sound, almost like they took it from mod and kind of made it, translating it to the US teen beat sound. But primarily, yeah, very much Baroque pop, Toy Town, kind of light on the pop psych. But this has got some catchy numbers. The Balloon Man, the track Tell Me is a standout. And yeah, the track You. It's kind of funny on side 1. In between all the track breaks, they individually have a message saying, "We love you very much" in between each track. So it's kind of a cool, like, little coded message in between the track breaks. I could recommend this. I mean, you could still find this probably 10, 20 bucks. If you're looking for some cheap heat, if you like those vocal harmonies like I do, it's a good one to get. I think there's a little bit of more back history to him, or at least on the Robert Gallo side. I think he had like another solo LP. But yeah, Jubilee label. It's kind of a cool label. It's like not the same label the Racket Squad's on, right? Yeah. As far as like sticking to the East Coast, we got another one in that same region. This is one where, honestly, I kind of avoided this record for a long time. I think it was the Power Pop tag and like the Todd Rundgren connection. Not that I didn't like his music, it's just kind of like I wasn't really into it at the time, or I didn't understand where they were coming from. But now that I totally get it, and ever since last year, I've been kind of, you know, discovering stuff on my own, making a playlist of Power Pop. You should be able to find a public playlist on my channel here where I've kind of been adding songs that I like and just hit shuffle and go to town on it. But this is one where, you know, it's right at the tail end of the 60s it was recorded. And there's actually 1969 demos that were released from Gearson recently. We're talking about the American Dream. It's got association through the Bearsville label, and it's on Ampex. Ampex? Yeah. So as I said, I had some connections to Todd Rundgren. He's the producer and engineer on this. And he's got good ears, man. He can really dish out some good pop LPs. I think I've been kind of missing out on, you know, really appreciating what Rundgren was up to. And I knew his artistry pretty well and just his reputation, but this is kind of one of his, I think one of his first productions, really. And every track on here, except for like a couple tracks, sort of like a bluesy number, and then one of them was kind of a throwaway, sort of having fun in the studio rehearsal kind of track. But otherwise, this is a fun rocker, man. Very much an early incarnation of Power Pop, what it would become. So in a lot of ways, you can compare this to like Krabby Appleton or stuff of that ilk, anyway. Yeah, very energetic. You got some kind of folkier, kind of folk rock ballads in sort of like a Birdsey light. But then they switch it up right away and, you know, sometimes get, you know, semi-psychedelic on tracks like Credem Fills. It's kind of like a weird little jam they do. But my favorite highlights, Big Brother, The Other Side, and then Storm, all on side one that opened it up. You just never know what direction they're going to kind of go in this one, and really do enjoy this quite a bit. And this is also cheap heat. You can find this for like, again, kind of 10, 20 bucks. And these are two that just floated in the shop. I mean, how lucky could I get? I think it was actually printed this way too. Yeah, because it kind of folds out and the full image there. There were some connections. I think one of the members went on to Foghat. I think they've all done different things, but I just remember the Foghat connection because of Bearsville, right? Because they were on that label. But yeah, the American Dream, definitely want to check out. Don't expect a lot of like crude fuzz or anything like that. Definitely kind of polished, but very catchy. And it's kind of amazing, like, you hear this and it's like, why didn't these guys go big? It had a lot of commercial potential, but I think it was just, you know, Ampex probably wasn't, you know, very much the key label to side with. But, and, you know, the whole sleeve design's not that appealing either, you know, given the front is more like the back image, really, with the track listing. But, yeah, the American Dream, highly recommend this. And then kind of leading to the last one here. So this is one that I listened to actually last week in full, so I'm a little fuzzy on it, but I think I can still recall my first impression on this. This is the most recent thing pressed from Lion Productions. This is a little band called Sunset Love. This is a very limited release, 300 copies. I got number 36, as you can see there. And yeah, so far from what I can hear on the turntable, it's cleaned up pretty well. So initially they released this on like CD, I don't know how long ago. It says 2010 on the CICA or Psychedelic Records. It's like spelled C-I-C-A, Delic. I don't know what the pronunciation exactly is, but it was really released through them first. And the CD art is actually taken from Psychedelic Moods album, that Rusty Evans project. So I don't know what the deal is there, if they just stole the album art or what. But it talks a little bit about their back history here, and it's kind of nice. Has a nice little insert that I read prior to this video, and I got some Polaroids there. These guys were based out of New Mexico area, and they hopped over to Texas to record this at one of the studios owned by one of the Crickets members, the drummer, I think it was. What's his name? Alsop? Yeah. Original member of Buddy Holly's band, the Crickets. And it says here he played guitar on 3 of the songs, Green Hippie, Push, and Wheels. They also do a cover of World of Pain, the Cream song, which I think is a pretty tasteful version. So you got like male, female vocal harmonies happening here. They're kind of coming from like a garage space, but like garage as in, you know, it's kind of crude sounding. 4-track tape, you know, kind of a small studio session, but a little more in like the Sunshine Pop vein more than anything. And you know, some of the psych flourishes on here are pretty light, one could say, and they do get a little bit like pretty light on the pop stuff, kind of like the album track Sunset Love kind of gets a little bit not doo-woppy, that's not the right word, but it's sort of kind of a throwback to like early 60s pop. It's still not a bad cut, but maybe not one of the better standouts. The ones to check out, the track Change, the opening track, almost sounds like it could be a theme to like a, you know, I Love You Alice Pitokas or Pretty Song from Psych Out kind of appeal there. Then you got a track called Reach Out, which I do believe has been featured on some like Netflix series, it says online, which is kind of cool. And it's kind of garagey, the way it plays out. Run to the Sun, it's a nice kind of mellow, I think it's about marijuana maybe, possibly. One of the tracks are, it's about kind of laying out in the sun, smoking weed. We've all been there. Yeah, and the track Green Hippie, I mean, you got like 15 tracks to choose from. I don't really remember the second half so well. I was just streaming the old CD rip online. I think that CD rip has the majority of the tracks featured on here. It's just a different arrangement. But yeah, it's got a little hype sticker, which I think we could give you a little hint as to what's featured here. Sunset Love was a quasi-mystical flower power band from New Mexico who blended influences of the Mamas and Papas, Spanky and Our Gang, maybe, and the Beatles to create a unique pop psych sound. Sunset Love were recruited in 1968 to record at Westex Studios in Odessa, Texas. Sunset Love singer-songwriter Victor K. Lindsay says, "We thought we were going to be superstars. We had big plans. We were sure an album was going to be put out, but nothing ever was released at the time. For the first time on LP, the full story of Sunset Love can now be revealed via their original 1968 mono mixes, a must-have pop psych release. And it's pretty limited, 300 copies, so you know, if you can find that CD rip online, maybe I can leave a link in the description or pin the comment of the tracks, the first tracks that you hear on that CD. Give it a little sample and see what you think. I do know it is a little pricey, like a lot of reissues these days, but thankfully I had enough, just enough in sales funds to pick this up, and I was sold on this. It's really good, man. Yeah, it's a little more Mamas and Papas-y. Maybe not so much Spanky and Our Gang. You know, they got a little silly on some of their tracks, but you know, Mamas and Papas, The Art of Lovin', you know, sort of in that kind of wheelhouse. Love Exchange, somewhat in there. I think there's only like one track with a fuzz break, so don't expect any rocking moments. Oh yeah, I was going to mention, so they recorded at the same studio that, or at least the demo was cut at the same studio where Lincoln, Nebraska's own Zager and Evans cut in the year 2525. They cut that same single or that demo take, and then I think they passed it off to LA to some record execs, and they were recording at the same time these guys were. So it's kind of interesting. It's too bad they didn't land a deal at RCA Victor. I can definitely at least imagine it. So yeah, I love stuff like this being released these days. Sort of those archival lost sessions. I was never aware of this band. And I guess, stuff being released on vinyl for the first time, if it's on CD, I would pick that stuff up. Because I just did. So, yeah, you get a couple shots of the tape, the master tape there. So, yeah, Sunset Love, 2025 release. Check it out. So, yeah, that about wraps it up for today. I'm going to be spinning that one tonight, I think. And get wrapped up in that one. And, yeah, have a good weekend. Take care. And we shall see you eventually.